and today we're going to be building a character. Specifically, we're going to be building the monk, Monsa. So right here on my desktop, I have my bundle. It's the Alpha 0.7, but of course there will be links in the description, and you can certainly go check it out for yourself. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the fillable character sheet. So I'm just going to double click that, and what it's going to do is it's going to open in my, it opened on my other screen. Here we go. It opened in my internet browser, which is Opera. I just happen to have in like Opera. And here we have the blank character sheet. I'm gonna make that nice and big for you guys so we can take a look at it. One thing that I noticed that I really did appreciate was the sort of aesthetics of this sheet. I got to admit, I really do like the way this sheet looks. So we're going to start at the top here. I'm Tori. So we're going to say my name is Tori, and we're going to hit tab. Booyah. It's going to say ancestry. Monsa is a human. So I haven't exactly picked out specific traits yet, but Monsa is a human, so I'm going to be human. We're going to tab over to the character name. Monsa. I am Monsa. We're going to tab one more time to the class, and we're going to be a monk. We are level 1, and we are also 1 combat mastery. So right here underneath, it says what your combat mastery formula is. It's half your level. So of course this will go up, which will affect things later down. The combat mastery, the best equivalent I can find for it is the proficiency bonus. That's what it reminds me the most of, but it's used a little bit differently. So yeah, there we go. Starting at 1, it will be at 1. So over here on the left, we have our stats. We have my agility, charisma, and intelligence. Up here at the top, we have the prime, and this is the magical piece of the puzzle that allows us to make crazy things like intelligence fighters, or might-based wizards, or charisma-based barbarians, or whatever you like, because your prime is always going to be the highest of whatever your attributes are. The standard array is 3, -2, 1, and 0. So for a monk, now Monsa is not exactly a charismatic individual. So we're actually going to put the -2 in charisma. We're going to put the 0 in int. We are going to put the 3 in agility, and we're going to put the 1 in might, because Monsa is exceedingly agile. That is just how I initially pictured her. Our prime modifier is 3. Of course, going with a standard array, our prime modifier is pretty much always going to be 3. We also get 2 more points to spend as we please. Now, if we wanted to, we could put these 2 points into charisma down here to negate that negative. That feels like the cheap and easy way out. What I'm going to do is split that up. I'm going to do a -1 to charisma, and I'm going to make my might a 2. Because that just seems like a Monsa thing to do. She really is bad with people. So yeah, those are now my stats. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick my skills. Now the formula for your skills is 5 plus your int modifier, which in my case is 0. So I get 5 skills. So I am going to put some in acrobatics. She's really good at that. And I'm going to put a point into stealth. I'm also going to go ahead and put a point in awareness and intimidation, because she bullies her way through situations, and she might not be the smartest, sharpest tool in the shed, but she has a level of awareness. It's hard to catch her off guard, so hence the point in awareness. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then likewise, I'm actually going to put some points down here in knowledge. I like the idea of her having some knowledge history and knowledge, actually not occultism. Let's do knowledge religion. She might have studied up a little bit. She comes from a monastery that is actually a dragonborn monastery, and she was the only human there. At least that's a nod to a very, very old version of Monsa that I had that I like. So there we go. So now you'll notice here that I said I have 5 skill points, and I clicked 6 buttons, but that's because down here 1 skill point equals 2 knowledge masteries. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 2 of these equals 5. The next thing I'm going to do is saves. I think to keep it balanced, I'm probably going to pick 1 physical save and 1 mental save. I'm probably actually going to pick... I'm going to pick intelligence, and I'm going to pick agility for my 2 saves. I'm going to so this allows us to add our combat mastery. So 3 plus 1 is 4. So we actually get a 4 to that save, and we get a 1 to our intelligence because we're starting with a 0. Now this got me the first time when I had to catch this point, but when you get a mastery and a save, you add your combat mastery, which is this number up here. It slowly goes up as you level, and but right now it starts as a 1. However, your skill masteries are done in groups of 2, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So when you're adding your skill bonuses here, you're going to take your base score, which in my case for agility is 3, and then you're going to add 2 to that. So these are both 5s, whereas this save is not plus 2. That actually got me the first time. So these are going to be plus 2, starting with a 0. This is going to be a 4 because I'm starting with a 2 and I'm adding 2. And then this is, of course, going to be a 5 because I'm starting with 3. So those are my skills and saves. Then down here, you start with 3 trade points, and you start with 2 languages. And in the case of all of these, you'll notice with my skills, my trades, and my languages that I'm not going above a 2. And that has to do with the level cap. I don't recall offhand if the languages have a level cap, but it would make sense if they did because everything else does. Plus, it's nice having, even though I'm not fluent in these languages, I still have some capability for understanding basics. You know, I could ask for the bathroom. And she is a human, so I'm going to do... In fact, it would make sense to me if she were fluent in human, but I am going to do human, because human is a language that is distinct from common. And I'm also going to do Draconian, and hopefully spell it correctly, which is a nod to her backstory of being with the Dragon Board. For her trades, I'm actually going to want to take a look at that list. There are some trades that I can remember, like lockpicking, herbalism, jewelry, leatherworking. There are some trades that are kind of, oh, you'd expect them to be there, like cooking. But I want to come back to that when I have a chance to take a look at those trades. Going back up to the top now, we've got stamina points, mana points, hit points, physical and mystical defense. Now, your mystical defense is 8 plus your combat mastery, so 9, plus both of your mental stats, which in my case is a -1. So this is just going to be an 8 for the moment because it's 8 plus 1 plus 0 plus -1. After I have my 8 in there, I'm going to count up by 5, and I can't do math, so 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I literally count on my fingers. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. What these are the ACs for heavy and brutal hits, and it's really nice that this spot is here on this sheet so you don't have to memorize the by 5s every time. If she gets hit with between 8 to 13, that's a regular hit. If it's 13, I should say if it's 13 to 17, it's a heavy hit, and if it's 18 onward, it would be a brutal hit. At least that's how I would do that. For physical defense, it's 8 plus your mastery, combat mastery, plus your agility, plus your armor. So the physical defense does not use both physical stats in the same way that the mystical defense uses both mental stats. However, it does use physical armor. So there is something being swapped out there that kind of makes up the difference. So in this case, it's going to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So in my case, it's going to be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. I am lame. I count on my fingers. Shush. So that is my physical and mystical defense, at least for the moment. My hit points are 6 plus your level, so 7. 6 plus your level plus your might, so 6, 7, 8, 9. So my hit points are 9. Most classes get a bonus to hit points, but we're going to leave it at 9 for the moment until we know otherwise. We're going to start out with 1 stamina point. That seems to be the standard. Now, I say standard. It doesn't take much to kind of get the process down pat. It's really fast. I'm actually surprised how fast. It's really fast to get a character together in this system, starting at level 1. And even then, level 1 gameplay is phenomenal to play. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to scroll down here. Now remember, these are kind of, I'm just putting these in here because I know that they're at least this much. If my racial traits or class change this, I just come up here and change it. So I come down here to attack/spell check, and it tells me what it is. It's my combat plus my prime, the CM plus my prime. So that's going to be a 4. And in general, it seems like it's going to pretty much just always be a 4. And likewise with the 14, 10 plus CM plus prime, it's pretty much always going to be a 4. And then you get to choose for your martial check. It's whatever's highest, athletics or acrobatics. In my case, acrobatics is higher. So I'm going to put a 5 or hey, even a +5. Put a plus in there. And then that is going to be my martial check. My death threshold down here, it's 0 minus my prime. So again, since it's based off the prime, it's going to be kind of the same almost every time. So coming down here, our move speed is 5 and our jump distance is 1. We're going to come down here to resources, and this is rest points and grit points. And then I believe this is ammo that you would put down here later. So our rest points, and again, the formula is right here. Oh, chef's kiss. The formula is right there. It's level plus your might. So for our rest points, we're going to have a 3, which is our level plus our might. And grit points is charisma plus 2. So in my case, I think they cancel each other out. No, I'm going to end up with a 1. Yep, I'm going to end up with a 1 grit points. So there we go. We have the rest points and grit points. So now we're going to come down here to features, inventory, attacks, which would be variable upon our weapons. And then of course we want to look at the traits list to see what kind of traits we have. So there we go. Now let's pretend, for argument's sake, that you did not have all of that memorized quite the same way I did. What I like to do is have my PDF open over here. And of course, the favorite part of any book, which is the table of contents. So now what I can do is I can scroll through here and find just about anything I need to find. And my favorite way of navigating PDFs is to tap a number, like say 2, come to the table of contents, find what I need to find. Let's say in this case, it's our 10-step character creation outline. Find what page number it's on, come up here, type the page number, which is page 89, hit enter, boom, there you go. It's my favorite. I could use bookmarks and other stuff like that, but I do like using that as a technique for navigating books because it only takes a couple times before I start memorizing page numbers pretty easily. So 6 plus level plus might. So let's double check that I did that right. 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, I did do that right. There we go. So, and then we've got, of course, our stamina and mana points. Spellcasters get 6 to start. Marshals have 1 to start. Physical defenses, where we have the formula that I mentioned earlier. So the next thing it has for us is ancestry. And we do need to pick an ancestry. So the way it works is we have 5 ancestry points. So again, we're going to go to the table of contents. We're going to find the ancestry system, and at 102 we're going to click that, and it's going to take us to the ancestry system. Now I did say that Monsa was a human. So above here you're going to see all of the rules and such. Of course, this is all available on a Kickstarter, and 100% there is a link, an affiliate link as a matter of fact, in the description below. So definitely check it out. So right now we're going into the ancestries, and of course I've got the human here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to human resolve. So that's 1 point. I'm going to go down to my features. I'm just going to paste that in there. By the way, I have copy and paste bound to my 2 mouse side buttons. It's a very neat trick. I highly recommend. I like that. So I'm going to paste that here. +1 stats. I call them stats. They're also called attributes. Take that. And there we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have spent our 5 ancestry traits. Now, normally, if you are picking through ancestry traits and you are picking through elf, dwarf, gnome, halfling, any of the other options, you can pick traits from 2 different lines. But as I understand it, you are limited to those 2 lines. If you're like me, as I did just now and picked only 1 line, then as I level up, when I unlock new ancestry points, I can actually spend that on any line I choose at a later point. Whereas people who pick 2 lines at the beginning are always and forever kind of have to be within those 2 lines. As I understand it, the ancestry system is one of those things that I'm still trying to wrap my head around. So the next thing that we're going to look at here is our inventory. So first and foremost, I'm a monk, so my fist is definitely going to be a weapon here. In fact, speaking of monk, we should maybe check out our class to see what other features we have. So I'm going to bebop down to classes. Okay, here we go, classes. And then I'm going to bebop down here to monk, 129. So I get 2 light weapons, 3 throwing weapons, and some armor. I'm going to stick with robes, but she does get throwing weapons. So hopefully they have throwing stars or throwing knives, because that's immediately what I want. Let's see. So monks have access to inner key energy. I get light weapons and light armor for my masteries. And then I gain the benefit of weapon style passives. I learn all attack and weapon maneuvers, and then I get to earn several additional maneuvers. So where spellcasters have cantrips, martial classes have maneuvers, and there are different types or different categories. There's attack, a weapon, save, grapple, and I think one other one. And so I learn all attack and weapon maneuvers, but then from the grapple and save and defense maneuver list, I only get a certain number, kind of like a spell list. So I'm going to have to pick those out. Then there's also techniques, which I will get as I level up, but you don't get at level 1, at least I don't. And then stamina points. I have stamina points per my table, and here is my magic table. So I get 1 bonus HP to start, so we're just going to pop that in here. Woohoo! I'm now at 10. I have 10 HP! Yay! I get 1 stamina point, and I know 4 maneuvers, and then I get my class features. So I'm going to come back down here, and I'm going to do 4 maneuvers. And so now I'm going to go pick my 4 maneuvers. And if we scroll down here a little bit, we have our monk features. For example, we regain an SP when we hit with a melee martial attack, basically when we attack. Iron Palm, my unarmed strikes deal, let's make that bigger. Unarmed strikes deal 2 damage and are considered light melee weapons with the impact property. So this is where this comes into play. So my fists now have 2 damage and they have the impact property, which I'm going to put right below the name of the weapon. And then I'm going to put them also as a bludgeoning weapon, because I think that's technically the damage type that would be. So I can put my throwing stars here if I so choose. And it's considered a light weapon. I also get an adjustment to my mystical defense, so it's now the original formula, but plus 2. So thank goodness I get to increase my mental defense by a little bit. So now it's 8, 15, and 20. Boom. And then likewise, I get my physical defense is adjusted, and this is while I'm not wearing armor, which Monsa never did. 8 plus combat mastery plus agility plus 2. So basically the original formula, but I get to add 2. So this is now an 18, 19, 20. So this is a 20. That doesn't, wait, no. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 23, excuse me. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 28. My PD is so high. Good luck hitting me, guys. I'm just saying, good luck hitting me. Step of the Wind while not wearing armor, which she will not. I get +1 to speed and jump, so let's go add that real quick. +1 to speed and jump. So now I have a 6 and a 2 instead of a 5 and a 1. And I can use my prime modifier instead of my agility, but my agility is my prime in this case. But that's still a really neat idea, because that plays into that whole mechanic of I don't have to put my primary stat in the space you would expect it. And just because I'm a monk doesn't mean I have to be high agility. I'm just choosing to in her case. And then I get the monk stances. So what I would do, especially if I'm a spellcaster, but even so with the monk, because I have these 2 stances, because I get to pick 2 stances, is let's say you have one of those pre-made spell lists, of which, why don't more players guides, like why didn't 5e have pre-made spell lists like that? Like where's the fire spell list that just has fire spells on it, or the ice and illusions list? Like part of me wants that to be in the final book, because it's actually kind of brilliant, especially for new players. It's genius. So what I would do if I was a spellcaster, or in my case, like let's say I want to have access to all this information, right? But I don't want to sit there and fill up my features box on my sheet with tons of text. What I would do is take this page 130, and I would go over here to the print button, and then I would click save as PDF, and I would choose a custom page. So down here where it says custom, which pretty much every browser or PDF, I mean, once you hit the print button, it should look pretty much the same. And I'm going to come here to 130, and it's going to give me that monk class features. And then I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to go over to my desktop, and I'm just going to put it right there. Poof. And so now I have this one page saved. So again, this is a kind of a huge deal with spellcasters, because the way that the attack, the way that the maneuvers are kind of spread out, this would be harder to do with maneuvers, but you could still do it. But basically, I just kind of section out this one page that has my stances or my spell list or what have you. And then I will print my character sheet. I will print that one page. I will put them back to back and then slide them into one of those clear plastic paper holders, like what you would put in binders. And the cool part about those is you can Sharpie all over the top of them, and you're still not hurting your sheet. In fact, your sheet's relatively protected. And then the cool thing about Sharpie is it doesn't rub off all the way. So I can Sharpie it, and then when I need to make a change, I take a dry erase marker of the same color and kind of color in over the top of whatever I'm trying to erase, and then take like a Kleenex and it'll come right off. So the Sharpie will stay permanent until you put that dry erase marker over the top, and then it'll just wipe right off. So that's what I would do with stuff like this, where I want to have access to the information. Another thing I could do, like, I don't want to sit here and copy and paste the text from these. I don't want to copy and paste all of this or stick it into my features box or put it somewhere else. I just take this PDF, I print it, I put it in that sheet just like I said, and then I just circle this in like red Sharpie or red pen to make it easy to find, and then boom, done. And then I also have the names here on the top, because it'll only take a handful of times of using it before you'll start to learn association of, oh, mongoose stance means this. And then you'll get to a point where all you have to do is see the word mongoose stance and you're like, oh yeah. So that's how I would do that in that case. And then last but not least, because that's most of the monk training stuff, prior to level 2, I only get meditation flavor, which is pretty cool. I can enter a state of meditation during a short rest, and I can choose one attribute, or excuse me, one mental skill. And then when I complete the rest, my skill mastery level increases by 1 in that skill. So that's pretty cool, especially since Monsa has such low mental stats. So the next thing we're going to do, or rather the last thing we're going to do, is get equipment. So we're going to come oh, there it is, equipment, 73. So we're going to go to 73, and we're going to find our tables of equipment. There is a lot of other details in here to absorb. Right now I'm just looking to pick out my equipment. So I already have an idea of what I want. Being as I'm a monk, my main weapon is my hands, obviously. So I am looking for, let's see, picks, chained axes, swords, special, no, bows, oh, wait. What is this I see? Yes. Throwing stars. So I'm going to do throwing stars. I believe, what is that? Slashing? Yep, that S stands for slashing. See, and this is the part that I really love about this system too, is the B for bludgeoning, S for slashing, P for piercing. That's in 5e. So it was so easy for me to just jump into some of this stuff. A, because the outline was there and lined everything out. It was awesome. But B, so many of these things are just like, oh, I get that. Oh, I get that. Oh, I get that from the 5e DNA that's in this system. Even just the intelligence equaling your skills. I love that. I love that your intelligence score impacts how many skill points you have, because that reminds me of 3.5 and makes me nostalgic. So yes, throwing stars, it has a special property, the thrown property. Actually, I'm just going to grab all of this. Special property, thrown, boom, right there. Now it's there, it's in text. I have it as reference. I don't think I'm going to add the throwing stars to my actual inventory page. But yeah, and then of course I could add extra inventory if I had baubles I wanted to add, and of course my currency down here. So let's see. No, I think that's it, guys. I think we did it. Now that took about 45 minutes, and I kind of powered my way through it, and that's just my style of putting together a character, because I already have a character in mind. As you probably noticed, a large percentage of that was me saying, okay, I already have this character. What's the best way for me to get that character from my head onto this sheet? And there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also nothing wrong with taking your time. I saw a commenter talking about spending entire evenings making a character, and the way the comment was phrased made me think that they were disappointed or unhappy with that. I mean, if you're unhappy with that, there's certainly techniques and things you can do to help speed up the process, but bear in mind, it is by no means a problem or issue per se. If it takes you some time and if you discover it as you go, many people like to do that. And it also depends on the game you're in too. If you have a DM who's like, no, people don't make their characters in private, we make them all together in session 0, then okay, maybe, you know, depending on how long your session 0 is, you might feel the need to like hurry up and make your character, especially if someone there beats you to it and then you feel added pressure. But if you can make your own character in private, one thing that I like to do is just have a concept in my head. You already know, as someone who's going to play a TTRPG or even going through this process, I'm going to need main stats. I'm going to need to pick one of these to be the main stat. Is it might? Is it agility? I already know I'm going to have to play a class. What class am I going to pick? I already know I'm going to have to pick skills. What kind of things do I picture this character doing? Oh, come to think of that, we didn't even pick trades. You already know that you're going to have to pick equipment. What weapons do you picture your character using? Do they wear armor? Do they not wear armor? So if you kind of think about those things, like while you're doing the dishes, mowing the lawn, brushing your teeth, showering, whatever, then by the time you go to sit down in front of your paper, you can kind of do a little bit what I did, where you're just trying to find the best way to get what's already there down on paper. And often that, you know, that's a way you can do that. Oh, 100%. Monsa is going to be a cook. See, I said we were done, but there was one more thing. Ooh, I'm going to say leatherworking, actually. And was it masonry? Blacksmithing? Carpentry. Blacksmithing? I like blacksmithing. I just picture her picking these up as influences from the Dragonborn monastery that was like her OG background way back in the day. That's a homage to that. So there you go. And as far as I understand, the way that trades work is trades are going to be based off an attribute. So if I had to make an educated guess, I would say that cooking is probably going to be intelligence based or agility based, maybe, depending on how like dexterous you are in the kitchen, you know, working around various tools and things, versus intelligence, how, you know, how good you are at following recipes, reading recipes, holding information about recipes in your head. Like, I could see different elements of that. Blacksmithing and leatherworking is definitely going to be like might. Maybe agility for Liger, but probably might. So yeah. So now we're actually done mostly. Now my inventory screen looks empty, but you get the idea. That was us building a character together. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you so much for sticking around. There is an affiliate link in the description below. It would help me out a ton. You win, I win, coach wins, everybody wins.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Thank you so much. And until next time, bye.